this technique. Right now he's gathering all of the latent energy in his body. Then he's going to release it all at once. But I've never seen it in action before.
So the Kamehameha is the first energy attack shown in Dragon Ball, when Master Roshi decided that it would be a good idea to try to use it to put out the fire on Fire Mountain for some reason. So this attack, it took Master Roshi 50 years to develop and perfect it, and it became the signature attack of his students at Turtle School. Now after watching him do it just one time, Goku managed to do it on his first try, and from that point forward it became Goku's signature finishing attack. Now, the other of his students that learned it from him were Grandpa Gohan, Krillin, and Yamcha. However, his students are not the only ones that were capable of doing it throughout the series. Gohan, Goten, and even some of the bad guys like Cell and Buu were able to do it as well. Now the Kamehameha is formed when cupped hands are drawn to the user's side and ki is concentrated into a single point between their hands. And then their hands are thrust forward and it shoots out this streaming, powerful beam of energy. Now, that is the most common way that we see it used or hear about it being used, but the blast can also be used generally under extenuating circumstances with just one arm or even the feet, or different other variations of the attack. Most of the time, though, it's just the only common factor they have is that the user utters the word Kamehameha as, they charge and release the attack. Some of the variations, though, are just amped up versions of the same attack. They've been named to differentiate between the strength of the attacks in the video games. Other variations, though, are named after the form that the character is in when they use it, and others that are so different that they should probably almost be considered separate attacks. So the Super Kamehameha, which is nothing more than just an amped version of the normal Kamehameha. There's the reverse Kamehameha, which is a blast fired towards the ground to propel the user into the air, which is something that Goku had to do before he could fly. And another variation of this, though, is when Goku could use his feet to fire the blast to send himself off into the air. With the bending Kamehameha, the user can change the direction of the blast. Teen Gohan and Future Gohan were both able to do a one-handed Kamehameha. Because Teen Gohan had broke his arm and Future Gohan got his arm cut off. If two or more people fire one at the same time, and they have their beams merge, they're doing a multiple Kamehameha. Now there can be as many people doing this at the same time as they want there to be. And there are different variations of this thing as well, with the names being determined by who's involved. Like the Family Kamehameha, which is when Goku, Goten, and Gohan do it at the same time. All in all, though, these are all just different names for the same attack. Not much of a difference in the attack itself. The real variations, though, start when you start looking at the personalized versions of other characters. Oob has the Chocolate Kamehameha, which is the combination of Buu's chocolate beam and the Kamehameha that Oob had learned from Goku. Vegeta has the Final Kamehameha, which combines Vegeta's Final Flash with Goku's Kamehameha, and then Gogeta has the Big Bang Kamehameha, and that is obviously a combination of Vegeta's Big Bang attack and Goku's Kamehameha. Now, I know that these types of attacks in the series are described as energy attacks, energy beams, but are they really just beams of energy and nothing more? No, of course not. They can't be. That's not possible. If they were simply just beams of energy, everybody would be running around giving everybody cancer or something. And if they were simply beams of energy, this would be impossible. Not only is energy invisible, but it's not something that you can just reach out and touch, or you can grab, or you can manipulate with your hands. For energy to be transferred, it has to be carried in something physical, because energy is not a state of matter. So these beams cannot simply be energy. I mean, they have to be made of something that is a form of matter. So what are they, though? In school, we all learned that there are 3 different forms of matter. We've got solids, like the ground that we walk on, the clothes that we wear, the food that we eat, etc. There's also the liquids, like the things that we drink, the water we use to bathe, the water that we use to wash our clothes and go swimming in. And then gases, which the oxygen that we breathe is a gas, the atmosphere is a gas.
Helium is a gas, that makes your voice get really high.
That's a gas. Now, I think that it's safe to assume, though, that all of us have a good enough understanding of these 3 forms of matter to agree that the beams of a Kamehameha and the other blasts in the series do not behave like they are a solid, or like they're a liquid, or like they're a gas. But if they're not one of the forms of matter that we know of, how can it still be a form of matter? Despite the fact that you only learned about the 3 forms of matter in school, there are actually 4 of them. There's a 4th form of matter, and that form of matter is called plasma. What is plasma? Well, it's the sun. The sun is made of plasma. Plasma is a superheated gas, the result of a powerful electric charge ionizing the gas. The source of power in Dragon Ball is called Ki, and Ki is the life force that exists within every single living being in the universe. And some beings with the training are capable of drawing out and using the energy for a variety of different reasons. One of those reasons being to fire an energy blast, like the Kamehameha Wave, for example. And as we have seen, though, in the past, as the characters grow in power, we see more and more electricity around them, or lightning, and lightning is actually a plasma as well. Now, they are then able to concentrate their ki in and around their hands, which supplies the electric charge and the heat required to create the plasma. It applies this charge to the gases that are in between their hands. Once the ball of plasma is created, they're then able to apply that same energy to the plasma ball and fire the blast at their targets. Now, they maintain the blast. To maintain the blast, the source of the attack, the energy ball, the original ball of plasma, must remain near their bodies. The source of the energy, and since plasma only needs about 10% of the energy needed to create it, to maintain it, they're able to create a continuous beam of plasma for a relatively long period of time. Now, it's also worth noting that when the plasma gets thicker, the hotter that it gets, which explains why 2 blasts can collide and push on each other, and why a character in the series can put their hand out and block one of the blasts, which is something that would not be possible had the beams just been pure energy. Now, this can be said about all the attacks in Dragon Ball, or most of the attacks in Dragon Ball. Depending on what you want to believe, though, Ki in Dragon Ball is inspired by the real-life Chi of the monks that Shaolin monks use. However, it's worth noting that there's really no scientific evidence to back up Chi's existence, to prove that it is in fact for real, but these monks do believe in it, and there are many others out there that do believe that it's actually a real thing, especially the monks. And if you don't believe that it is real, after seeing what these monks are capable of doing because of their chi, it makes you think. Just watch what they're able to do with this chi. So if they're able to do these kinds of things, could some of the things that they do in Dragon Ball be possible? Yes, I think so. The problem is that, though, these levels of energy are so great that it would be impossible for a living being to generate the amount required. But theoretically, I mean, if there was a person or a being out there with sufficient chi, sufficient ki control, it's likely that something like this would in fact be possible in a way. And that can be said about a lot of things in Dragon Ball, excluding like the magic abilities like instant transmission, or the time that Goku could briefly learn how to read minds. You can't explain that with ki. Well, whatever. So there you have it. I mean, that's the Kamehameha Wave explained. That is all I've got for you guys in this video, though. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment, and I will see you guys next time.